Good morning, you sexy mother lovers. What's going on? The mix coming at you. NJ Morning Drive. Yeah, buddy. What's going on, people? It's happening. We have some snow. Yesterday, uh, and the day before, it's cold as shit. It's like 22 degrees outside, but it's all right. It's clear skies. And usually, when you have clear skies right after a snowstorm, it means that it's gonna be cold. If you know what I mean. So anyway, I've been off for the couple of days, guys, of the cameras, and so I decided to basically, talk about something that I think is important for all of us, but at the same time, I think that is being blown completely out of proportion, and that is immigration. Immigration. That word that we all associate with illegals, and that word that we associate with bad things, and the reality is that we are all immigrants in one way or the other. Whether you were born here, whether your parents were born here, whether the parents of your parents were born here, at some point someone in your family had to come from another land. And so we are a land of immigrants. Um, we have this thing right now with, the president basically declaring a state of emergency due to the crisis, the immigration crisis in the border. And I was thinking about it, crisis and an emergency, like what is the emergency that we're having in the border? Because we have people cross the border for a long time, and so I don't see what the big deal is. But obviously, when it comes to politicians, they want to make a big deal out of anything, so that they can basically run the platform. Thank you very much, sir, for allowing me to go in. And so I want to ask a question real quick, and the question is there an emergency in the south border in terms of problematic, and distressful situations in the border? And anyone that says yes is lying their asses off. There is no, emergency. President Trump run on this platform that supposedly Mexico was gonna pay for the border wall that we don't need. They said that this border was gonna be put up to protect the United States from terrorism, from drugs, and all this bullshit. The reality is that when you come to think about it, if you're gonna basically try to protect the country from drugs, there are okay, there might be drugs coming through the border, but not to the point that it will be a problem. Where the drugs are coming from are through what's called points of entry, and I mean by that I mean ports and airports. So the drugs are coming to legal means, meaning that they're illegal substances, but they're coming through legal means, and once again through ports, seaports, airports, right? And so, how is it that putting a border or putting a wall on the south border is gonna basically protect the country? Number two, we're trying to protect the country against terrorism. I had actually talked about it in the previous video, and that was that 9/11, all the hijackers that came through the country that did, and they were part of the 9/11 attacks on the World Trade Center, and even the one in 1993, all came through visas legally into the country. They didn't come to Mexico, they didn't come to Canada. So, again, why the fuck are we trying to build a wall? Doesn't make sense. Now, another question that I would like to ask is, you sometimes hear the rhetoric of people talking about, oh, all these immigrants are taking the jobs away from citizens and whatever. What fucking jobs are you talking about? Are you talking about jobs like, for example, strawberry picking, blueberry picking, cabbage picking? Because quite frankly, those jobs are jobs that pay below fucking minimum wage. And quite frankly, the only people that you see taking those jobs are people, illegal immigrants. See, like, we like to basically have our cake and eat it too. We want to have the cheapest shit, but we want to basically have the best shit. And it's not possible. You have companies like Walmart outsourcing their merchandise, and everything comes from India, China. Now, I'm not talking about that I'm against commerce. What I'm against is the fact that these big corporations are the ones that are basically creating the problems, because corporations are basically worried about one thing and one thing only, and that is profits. They don't give a shit about you. They don't give a shit about me. All they care about is money. So we in this country like to have our cake and eat it too. So we want to have the cheapest shit, right? But then we want to bitch and moan about the fact that there are no jobs. Well, there are no jobs because all the freaking jobs are going to other countries where the minimum wage, there is no statute of minimum wage. People get paid whatever. People can basically work, under slavery, and no one gives a fuck. Many companies do that, and again, this is just the thing of globalism and the global economy. But you can have it both ways. If you're gonna have, like, back in the 70s, the 60s, 80s, we were the primary builder of most things, like Panasonic, Sony, like all those products were built in the country. And don't get me wrong, they were expensive, but because they were built in the country, they were basically able to give people a living wage. Once we basically became globalized, and obviously corporations became aware that they can take a factory here in the US and take it to Mexico, to India, to China, to the Dominican Republic, whatever the case might be. Once the companies became aware that they could do that, then they said, fuck Americans. We are here to make this money, right? So that's the thing that I wanted to talk about, right? So again, what jobs are you talking about that immigrants are taking away from you? Another thing that you always hear is, oh, these immigrants are coming in and getting benefits. The fuck they're gonna get benefits if they don't have papers? Because in order for you to get benefits, you gotta go to a federal building and prove. That's one of the things. You gotta prove that you have the legal documentation to be able to get benefits from the government. Another thing that you hear is that, these illegals are not doing anything for the country, when in fact it's bullshit. That's very disingenuous. You have a lot, and I work in an industry where you talk to people that need a service that we basically provide, and there is something called an I-18 or a tax ID, and this is given to people that come to the country and that may not have papers. And so the U.S. governments, in their, in their wonderful wisdom, say, how can we get more money out of people? Holy shit. Let's give illegal immigrants a tax ID so that they can pay wages when they're in the country. But they're not able to get tax refunds because that money the government keeps, and they're not able to get any benefits from it because they cannot get unemployment. Again, because you need to prove that you are here legally. But what we do, we give these people the ability to be able to pay taxes so that we can get more money out of people. So if I'm wrong, please correct me. But I'm not. Now, I do understand one thing, and that is, I hear people when they talk about, oh, you know what, there are people that are coming here illegally, and I get that. I wasn't born here, as most of you guys that know me, and you can hear about my heavy accent, right? But I wasn't born in the U.S. I came here, with my mother, with my father, through legal means. Like, we have to apply to, like, immigration. We have to go through the waiting period, and then, like, it's a process. You basically have to spend a whole bunch of money. You have to get lawyers involved, And so we came to the country legally. And so one thing that I do understand is that there, there are people that might be able to come into the country illegally and find ways, for example, to marry a U.S. citizen to help them become, a permanent resident. And I think that stopping to that has stopped because the immigration services has basically caught up and catch on to the idea of people doing that because that's quite frankly it's illegal for you to marry someone that you are not into a relationship and to actually you have a business relationship to defraud the government. They are used to do that, but people are not doing that anymore because it's really difficult to do it and to get away with it because they're gonna ask you questions, they're gonna pry it into your fucking life, and so people are like, you know what, I'm not doing that. So I do understand when people say, you know what, but it's unfair for these people to come in and not wait in line. I was talking to my wife the other day about this, and we were having this discussion, and she's on the other side of the fence, and all I was doing is I was basically playing devil's advocate because I understand both sides. I wasn't born here, so I am an immigrant, but my family did it the right way. So this is what I was saying to her. She was like, "Nah, you know what? It should be okay for people to come in and basically get jobs or whatever." And I was like, "All right, well, let me ask you a question. How you feel about this? We go to Target, we go to ShopRite, we go to the supermarket, and you waited in a long ass line for you to be able to get your turn to talk to the cashier, and someone jumps in front of you that didn't wait. What would you do?" She said, "Oh, well, if it was an older person and they only have one item, blah, 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 I will let them through." I was like, "Okay, understand." She said, "We'll go, it's a base by base by base or whatever." And I was like, "Okay, cool. So what if you are in line the next week, the same shit happened?" She was like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 fuck that. Like, I'm not with it." And I was like, "Well, think about that. That's exactly what happens to people that are waiting and that submitted their papers to the legal means to come into the country to be able to have the opportunity to take, to job, to work, to go to school." So you can see, and she was like, "You know what? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I understand it. I get it." That was so that's what a lot of people are saying. Actually, we have the dreamers. So another thing is another flip, to that coin. Like, what do you do with children that came to the country very young, and so they don't know anything other than this land because this is where they grew up. That in taking them out completely, that would be the equivalence of having someone raise a child, and then when they grow up just basically say, "You know what, we're gonna have to separate it from the person that raised you completely and just rip them out." It's the same thing. And then send them to the real family. A family that they don't know, a family that they don't understand, a culture that they don't know. So it's it's all it's a flip side. It's complicated. And so what I propose is this, and maybe it's too harsh, maybe it's not, but this is what I propose. The reason why people come to the United States is because this is the land of dreams. This is the land of opportunity. This is the land of milk and honey, as they call, Canaan in the Bible. And so people come to the country because this is the one place in the world that you can come in with nothing and become something. But we got to do it the legal way. We got to do it the right way, so that the people that are waiting online and submitting the papers through it and waiting and going to the interviews or doing whatever, that they're able to come in. So what I was thinking was this. So the reason why people come into the country is because they know that they're going to be able to find jobs. And going back to the cherry picking and the picking of fruits or whatever in California, these people basically come here because they're going to be able to find jobs that perhaps you, me, and 99 percent of people that have legal status are not going to take because it's really hard work. It's dangerous work. You're supposed to chemicals. You're supposed to a whole bunch of shit. You don't have any protections, right? So what I was basically suggesting was this, and this is the conversation that I have with the missus, was okay. So you know how you take care of this whole problem? Very simple, very simple solution. So right now it is illegal for businesses to hire people without papers, without the legal, documentation. So what you do is this: make the immigration, services do their fucking jobs. And what I mean by that is make it so so that immigration basically is going to places of work to audit the place and to find out, and don't call the fucking place and say, hey, listen, we're gonna come tomorrow to check it out. Just go, show up, and say we need to audit your papers, we need to audit your employees. And two things that you think two things you can do about that to enforce this, because I don't even think this shit is enforced. One will be, if you get caught giving jobs to people that don't have their legal papers, you put a tax lien on the job, on the business owner, or you take the business away from the business owner. Now that is obviously very harsh, right? The other way that you could do that is that you have a strike system. So you order the place. You don't call the place, you don't let them know that you're coming, but you go into the place and you say, okay, we're gonna need to order your people. You don't need to a big stink about it. You don't need fucking lights. You just basically send a couple of cars to the place, go to the restaurant, go to the business, go to the factory, and just say, we need to order your papers. That's all we need to do. And to make sure that the people that are working here basically have the legal representation and that they have the legal documents. And the first time you get caught basically giving job or giving work to someone that doesn't have the documentation, there is a penalty for it. $10,000 per person, $5,000 per person. The second time you get caught doing it, you increase the penalty. And the third time you do it, you lose your business. I can fucking guarantee you that there will be no more problems. Because if people are coming to their country and they're not able to find jobs because they don't have the legal means to show that their status is okay, then they won't come. It's very simple. You don't need to be a mathematician. You don't need to be a politician. It's very simple. We are a nation of laws. And so we don't need a wall to stop the influx of drugs, of terrorism, or this and that and the third. Again, if you think about it, the drugs that come in through points of entry, like seaports and airports, and the people that committed the terrorist acts on 9/11 and on the World Trade Center in 1993 came through visas. So we are going about this the wrong way, and we're spending billions of dollars. We're asking for billions of dollars in expenditure that we don't need. And then also for politicians to say that there is a crisis, there is no fucking crisis. That's just basically a platform for someone to say, I want this done because I said that I want it done. And so that is my 2 cents of the issue of immigration. That is my 2 cents on the issue of, you know, illegal immigrants, or whatever you want to call it. Guys, subscribe to the channel. Tell me what you think. Comment down below. Again, this is Mix coming at you. Enjoy morning drive. Drive safely. Be cool. Be nice. Be gentle. Be cool. And I hope you guys have a great day. Tell me what you think. Again, for those of you that have subscribed to the channel, I appreciate the support. And for for the new people that are subscribing, guys, welcome again to NJ Morning Drive. Yeah, buddy. Peace, guys. Have a great day. Bye.